college secret society.
At my university, there's a castle just off campus that is home to a secret society. The secret society goes back to the 1800s, and obviously, everything they do is kept under serious wraps. On Halloween a couple years ago, some friends and I went to this castle because we thought it would be fun to go by the creepy castle on Halloween. I had done some research beforehand on the secret society, and there were many articles tying them to demonic and weird stuff, so I thought it would be perfect for Halloween. Anyways, the road to the castle is at the end of a residential street, and you have to walk on a gravel path into the woods to get to it. As we are walking up to the castle, we heard a woman let out the most blood-curdling scream I've ever heard. At that moment, we all ran back to the residential road. Most of the people we were with decided to head back to campus because they were seriously freaked out, but a few of us stayed. We walked back over to the castle, and this time, we noticed people standing on top of the castle with black hooded robes. Once we noticed them, they immediately started throwing rocks at us. At that point, we decided to leave. But as we make our way down the path, we heard what sounded like Latin, chanting coming from the castle. When we made it back to the actual road, we saw some other students who came from the woods behind the castle. They mentioned that they also heard the woman scream and that they were also just as freaked out as us. As we're talking, we hear the sound of a little boy yelling, "Help! Somebody please help!" And then again, "Help! Someone please help!" It was coming from the direction of the castle, so we decided to go back because obviously this kid needed help. When we got there, we noticed that the amount of hooded figures had doubled and they were all looking at us from the roof of the castle. We stood there for a few minutes, just staring at them, but we just decided it was best to leave because they had already shown hostility. This experience honestly shook me, but I thought, maybe it's just a Halloween prank. But the more I started thinking about it, I realized I wasn't so sure. We were out there for about 2 hours, and our group and the other group of students were the only ones out there that whole time. Why would they come up with some elaborate scheme for only 10 people? And how could I explain the screaming woman and kid if it was just a prank? I know it sounds far-fetched, but I think something really happened that night. There's more details I can share and other strange things happened, but I'm curious if y'all think I'm crazy for believing that it could have been something more than just a Halloween prank. Could this have been some kind of sacrifice or demonic ritual?
Here's When the Midnight Hour Calls.
I work a literal graveyard shift at a cemetery. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. are my hours. Deaths are quite common around this area. We also get bodies from the borders of the state. While the work environment isn't the most ideal, I am alone and don't have to deal with the bullshit of other people. I put on my headphones, shuffle my playlist, and dig. A shovel full of dirt, toss it behind the shoulder, rinse, and repeat. Simple manual labor for 8 hours. I do the daytime shift or even the afternoon, but there's something about the night that makes it better. It's quiet. I'm alone. I have a bright set of lights to illuminate dozens of feet around me. I can wear my favorite jacket and gloves to stay warm, and I can take a break whenever I feel like it. No supervisor breathing down my back or annoying coworker slacking off. The only witness to my work is the moon and the spirits that roam this graveyard. Yes, ghosts are real and active at night. When midnight calls, the dead rise. From midnight to 6 a.m., they roam around me. I've learned to keep my head down, avoid eye contact, and keep to myself. They don't do much outside of conversing with each other. Nothing more than a mere cold and empty spirit drifting around the limbo of the mortal realm and being locked out of the world beyond. They are very protective of this cemetery and selective on who they allow in. I would dare say that they're good for security. No need for an officer at night. Had a group of young high schoolers spray painting one of the graves. The spirits punished their actions. I had never seen a soul ripped from the very body it inhabits. I could hear their screams as the spirits reached in and ripped them from their mortal shell. The shrieks of pain that can't even be described, subjected to the hellish torment that awaits them in the underworld for the disrespect of the dead. Yeah, I busted out the good old cleaning kit, sprayed the gravestone with that industrial-level cleaner and got to scrubbing, melted the paint right off. I can't tell if I'm liked by the spirits due to me sticking to my job and fixing any damage or mess done to the cemetery during the day. The morning staff have been seeing things and hearing whispers in their heads that drive them crazy. I'm convinced I'll be the only one working here in a while. The whole cemetery to myself. I look upon the graves tonight as the moon shines down like a bright light. Oh, my own grave is right there. Well, isn't that a bit silly? I forgot that even in death, my old work is all I know.
The story is titled I was hunted through the woods by a man who wanted to murder me. From r/true scary stories.
So this happened 2 days ago. I, 25 female, was on a date with a girl, 21 female, let's call her Lex. And it was going super well. We've been talking for the better part of a year. Her coworker invited us and her roommate, 25 male, let's call him Kyle, to a party. It went super well, had a blast, and on our way back he drove in front of us while we took her motorcycle back and followed him. This is where it all goes wrong. He randomly turned into a parking lot, so we followed him. And it turns out he was passed out in the driver's seat. We did not realize he was this drunk. Lex tried to wake him up, and when he got out of the car, he just started beating the shit out of her. So I ran over and pulled him off of her and started beating him. Put up a good fight until he took me to the ground and started strangling me, then grabbed me by the hair and started bashing my face into the pavement repeatedly. Also, this guy is 6'2", and I'm 5'3". I started to fight back even harder to get him to stop because I thought he was going to kill me, so I clocked him really hard and he stood up, bleeding all over me, and said,
"I'm going to fucking kill you."
At this point, Lex picked me up from the ground and just screamed, "Run!" So we ran in opposite directions into the woods and he followed me. I was much faster, so I was hiding in the woods while he walked around going,
"Oh, Gabby, come out. Come out wherever you are. I'm gonna fucking kill you!"
So I wound up army crawling through the woods so he couldn't see me and hiding there until I couldn't hear him anymore. Lex had run the opposite direction, so she wound up by the road and flagged down a rando to call the cops, and they came and found me hiding in the woods. He broke her jaw and may have fractured my skull, waiting on the CT results. So yeah, there you have it. Hands down the most terrifying thing I've ever been through. Update. He did not fracture my skull. Thank God, lol. CT came back clean, I'm just concussed. She, on the other hand, most likely has to get surgery for her broken jaw.